Hello there and welcome into Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars podcast, episode 15. We are so close to episode 20, and we have a very special episode for you today. A lot to talk about, but more importantly, we have proof that Jesse Buck is not dead, was assassinated, or some other illness took his life away. There were some people that were concerned for your well-being. They thought you got off.
We decided that we'd probably send some flowers to you, but then we decided not to.
Well, because they die, possibly like you.
Yeah, it was just a rough 3 weeks, but finally on the mend and everything, so that's a plus.
No, that's awesome. It's so good to have you back. Nick is out of town. He's away on, we'll say, assignment, but we do have David Gilbert with us. And David, you are battling a cough, but my goodness, you look good. How are you doing right now?
I'm in the middle, and I'm not used to this. I normally sit on that corner, and so I don't know what's happening tonight. There's like different lights and stuff, and I'm kind of excited, but a little frightened.
It's the same lights. They're just pulled away a little bit so we don't sweat our butts off.
But normally I'm over there, looking at the lights from that direction.
Really, the only thing different here is that you're the only one out of 3 not wearing a Star Wars shirt, David.
I would just like to mention, of the 4 guys of Beyond the Blast Doors, the 3 of us weigh the most, so this is probably the most this set has weighed, aside from when you had the 4 of us. I know, we're just bigger guys, you know?
That was like...
Just more to love.
What was the point of that comment? I'm kind of lost here.
I'm just calling us a bunch of fat asses.
Anyways,
Well, yeah.
kind of gathered that.
We, you know what?
We're less fat asses than when we have a 4th person here who's less of a fat ass.
Yeah, we lose weight when Nick's not here.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
But
Yeah.
we're averaging.
Yeah, we average it out.
Is that how Weight Watchers work?
I don't know.
I mean, if that's
I
so,
gotta
we
ask,
should hang out with Nick more
is
often.
Nick a secret agent?
I don't know. I don't even know where he's at this week. I just know he said he's away on business. So that's that. Before we get started, we just want to say thank you, as always, for watching us. Or maybe you're listening to us. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Know that if you ever have any comments, questions, or concerns, that you can always tweet at us at BTBD_podcast. There you can ask questions, and you ask us questions there. We answer them on the show. Feel free to comment as you listen along. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can just comment in the comments below. No matter what platform that our listener is listening, we want to encourage them to subscribe, right? I think that's a good thing to do.
100%.
Yeah, we want you to subscribe, because when you subscribe, then you become the first one to know when a new episode drops or a new video drops.
And then we're going to freeze you in carbonite so you can never unsubscribe.
I subscribed to us last week.
We've been doing this for 15 weeks now, and you just subscribed?
I did. I learned how to do it.
Okay, we need to get into Real Talk. Real Talk is a segment where we talk about everything that's movie-related, and that is everything from the saga films, the standalone movies, even the 2008 Clone Wars movie that I think we're going to watch after we record this episode.
Well, I'm told it's bad.
Well, it's actually... It's not as bad as we make it out.
There's pros and cons.
It's just fun to bash it. But our first topic is... wow, my gosh. Let's start here... where we talk about the reveal of Snoke's Mega Star Destroyer. Move this up. Originally, this was at the bottom of the list, but I feel like we have to move this to the top because, 1, it's the most recent while we're recording for this episode, and 2, we've had a string of ship reveals in the last couple of days, really in the last 2 weeks. We've gotten some really cool looks at a new Star Destroyer. We've gotten the official good, solid look at the ATM-6. And now we have a look at Snoke's Mega Star Destroyer. And this is thanks to Sphero's new app for its remote control Star Wars Astromechs. We finally got to get a first look at this ship. It's called the Supremacy. And according to the map, this is the only Star Destroyer of its kind. The Mega Class is its official designation. And it comes in at 60 kilometers from end to end. And for comparison, Kylo Ren's ship, the Finalizer, was just 3 kilometers. So, David, I want to start with you on this one because you and I have looked at this ship together. It kind of looks like a wishbone. But what's your initial impressions when you see this ship?
Oh, I'm excited. To me, it kind of looks like a boomerang.
Okay, yeah. I think that's a more accurate shape, yeah.
And see, I'm really excited because I love the Empire. I love what the Empire's turned into in the First Order. So, to me, the best ships have always been the bad guy ships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look at the Rebel ship or the whatever they're calling themselves these days, really the only iconic ship that I enjoy from that is the X-Wing. So being able to see another badass villain ship is really cool. This one's ginormous. I had to look it up. 60 kilometers is 37.2 miles.
You're making me blush.
And that's a ginormous ship. So when reading up on it, it looks like it's going to be able to fit other Star Destroyers on it to just kind of chill and take off and kind of use as a base. So what gets me most excited about this is what I gathered out of The Force Awakens is that the First Order is still kind of getting their shit together. And they got the Star Killer base together, but when in the hell did they have time to do a Star Killer base and this ginormous 37-mile long spaceship they've got going, plus equipping everything and all that?
To me, it seems like this is a mobile space station, and this is maybe something more practical than the Death Star. Now, we obviously don't know about firepower, but any ship that can house Star Destroyers, that's a monstrosity. That's a real threat. And now we also know that the First Order fleet has expanded to include those dreadnoughts with those big old turbo lasers on the bottom, and you would suspect maybe those are powered by kyber crystals. So, I mean, you definitely know that the First Order is getting their act together. You alluded to that just a couple of seconds ago, because they're expanding this fleet. Jesse, when I looked at this ship, it kind of reminded me of Padme's Royal Cruiser in Attack of the Clones, when in that opening scene when they're coming down to Coruscant, kind of that shape, and that's really all it is. Kind of a scrunched cockpit, wide wings like that. It's kind of similar, but you definitely see that it is a Star Destroyer. The way that it kind of levels up.
You can kind of you definitely see, a Star Destroyer feel to it. For me, when I saw this, though, what it actually reminded me of was the crap.
You had it.
Mind fart.
You were so close.
Is it a spaceship? I bet it reminds me of a spaceship.
It's from Rebels, where they it's like a
spoilers
ship carrier, like a fighter ship carrier that they had, and they lose it, I think. And
oh, I know what you're talking about. It's that the one with the docking bay attached to it.
Yeah. So it kind of reminded me of that, just like purpose wise. At the same time, and if Star Destroyers can actually dock on this thing, that's a little intimidating, because you got to think about how many TIE fighters does a Star Destroyer able to carry. Okay, with that being said, think about how many TIE fighters, how many personnel and crew members are on this thing.
Yeah, and we don't have those specifics yet, but you have to think if it's 37-something miles, keep in mind this is double. I mean, if you really want to stretch it, triple the size of the Executor that we got in Empire Strikes Back.
At the same time, though, what's very interesting is, if you read a lot of the books, the Aftermath books, we know that the remnants of the Imperial Navy jump to deep space. They jump to basically off the charts, and they kind of disappear, pretty much for the most part, for obviously for some length of time, and that's limited resources there. So that I'm kind of wondering, did they take like some of the damaged Star Destroyers or something, and just okay, we're gonna kind of scrap them, but we're gonna merge them together, like take some of the parts from them to make like a platform and then expand it? I don't know
how they would even go about that. But I like more the idea that I just like the idea of the overall the supremacy being able to hold the other frigates. I don't want to think about them merging them. I just want to think about this. This is just a new monstrosity that they were able to construct. I just want to know,
where the funding come from.
Well, I don't care about the funding. I mean, it's Star Wars. I mean, credits are irrelevant. My thing is just, is this supposed to be the replacement of the Death Star in the sense of having a mobile space base, and I can roll with that, because to me a large ship like this would be more practical than a Death Star, because I've never been able to get a good understanding of what the Death Star could do at light speed.
I think this probably came out of necessity, though, because if you're looking at limited resources, again, if you're constant, you need somewhere to maybe potentially dock some of the destroyers for maybe repairs.
Yeah,
this would be a perfect thing for it while remaining on the move.
And you're not dependent on the quad shipyards. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you can just dock it on this ship or beside it.
There's just something about being able to keep on the move, kind of thing, and I guess stay in the shadows.
Yeah.
Really.
Now there was something brought up, David. I don't know. Last episode we talked about how that pizza slice, the dreadnought ship. Was it flat? Why was it flat? Will they have a battle on the surface of that ship, maybe in space? Does another ship dock on that? I'm on Twitter a couple of days ago, and I see a fan put out the theory that Snoke's Supremacy lands on the Dreadnought. Now, we know that cannot happen after these specifics come out because the Dreadnought is like 3 kilometers.
Yeah, and this is ginormous.
Yeah, and this thing is like a bajillion times larger.
This ship is larger than the city we live in.
Whoa. Yeah, that kind of does put it into perspective.
Yeah, Quincy's only like 6 by 6 miles. This is like
isn't something
37.
that you'd be able to really land. This isn't something you'd be able to land on.
It's always in space. It's always in orbit.
It's got to always be in orbit.
Well, I think it's clear that all 3 of us are really excited to see what this ship does in space come Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I would hope that we do get to see a couple of shots of this ship. We know from Rian Johnson that we will not get a whole lot of Snoke in Episode 8. We're saving Snoke for Episode 9. Maybe they're flushing it out so that way they can make him Plagueis at the end. That would be awesome.
Fingers crossed.
But we will find out together. Safe to say, though, between this, the Dreadnought, the ATM-6, which I'm now on board with, we'll talk about that later, Kylo Ren shuttle.
I'm excited about that, too, by the way.
The last 4 or 5 vehicle reveals we've got from the First Order side of things, so behind. I am loving the design of this movie, far more behind it than I was with Last Jedi. I'm just very excited for it, and that's
Force Awakens.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I like Force Awakens. I feel like we always have to say this every time. I like it all the time, but I just feel like Episode 8 to me feels more like a logical progression for a lot of the technology, and this is actually going to take us into our second topic of Real Talk on Episode 15. We're talking. Well, first off, credit where credit is due. StarWarsNewsNet.com is good for this story. They helped us out. They are the best aggregator of Star Wars content on the web. Be sure you check them out if you haven't already. I would imagine if you listen to us, you listen to them. They also have the Resistant Broadcast, which is a great Star Wars podcast. So be sure you give them a listen. They drop new episodes every Wednesday night. Now, they give credit to Jedi Praxis, who's over on Reddit. We're being told that Captain Phasma will stay masked the entire Episode 8. And we're getting this confirmed because there is strict instruction to those dealing with marketing and merchandising not to give any images of Gwendolyn Christie's face or head in any of those art renderings. They want that character to be masked the entire time. And this was something we debated on putting in buy or sell, but it is movie related, especially with all the canon stuff that we've gotten with Phasma in the last 24 hours. Jesse, when you think of Captain Phasma staying masked that entire Episode 8, do you like that? Do you not like that? Why?
I like it. I'm on board with it. But it raises a few questions for me, though. We know that one of the biggest criticisms about The Force Awakens was the fact that Kylo took his helmet off. And it kind of took away from, he felt like really evil.
Oh, I agree.
And dark.
He should never remove the helmet into that last scene.
And then it came off too often. So I think this is them not wanting to repeat that mistake. But at the same time, I'll kind of say that I think Captain Phasma is kind of supposed to be the new Boba Fett. And the
I don't think they're going to intentionally do that.
I don't think it's... this is kind of just how I feel
about
it.
I think it's an inevitable thing, though,
But
the way you have the setup with J.J. Abrams and The Force Awakens with underutilizing that character. I think that's how it's going to get that rep.
There's something about leaving a character kind of like that face kind of anomalous. That's the allure of the character. I think it raises the curiosity, because what it makes me wonder is it by choice that she leaves it on? Because you've got Captain Phasma, and she looks completely different compared to the other First Order troopers, even though she's a captain and everything. And maybe it's something to do with her rank, like her armor appearance and whatnot. But in my mind, I'm wondering, is this somebody who's kind of disfigured on their own to some degree, and that's why the helmet is on?
Well, what about this, though? And David, weigh in on this. You have Gwendolyn Christie as the actress portraying Captain Phasma. You don't go out and get a talent like that to wear a mask throughout the entire series. We already mentioned how she was underutilized in Episode 7. She's going to stay masked in Episode 8. Do you think at some point you have to reveal her? Or is it a thing where she is such a commanding presence as is, you can keep her masked the entire time and still have a lot of great acting through the armor?
I think you can have a lot of great acting through the armor.
Okay.
This gives us that... when you look at a stormtrooper's mask, it's kind of frightening.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, we know they can't hit us if they shoot at us, but
that's the old school stormtrooper.
Right, but you look at a stormtrooper's mask, and you know that shit's coming your way if you're face to face with that. So to me, if she takes off the helmet, that's less threatening. And if she's a captain, she should probably follow protocol, which probably means leave your helmet on at given times. So I'm okay with her being taken care of.
I would have liked to have seen, because I like that scene with Phasma and Finn in the transport in Force Awakens where she just kind of like randomly pops up from behind, hey, why do you have your helmet on? Put that back on, yada, yada, yada. How great would it have been if we do get more Phasma and Finn in Force Awakens? Like, if she is the one that yells the traitor line, how great would it be in like late Episode 8 or early Episode 9 where she and Finn have to go head-to-head and her helmet were to come off? Like, how much more impactful that would be.
Well, I mean, we've already seen her with kind of some sort of like a pike of some kind, so I would be totally down for seeing some sort of one-on-one combat between the two characters.
But now, does that have gravitas though? Because we've already mentioned how that relationship is kind of complicated now. It's not very flush. Had it gone, the fan fiction way or the how it should have been done way. How we like to speculate after we've seen the finished product. Like we didn't slave on it for 2 years. Would it carry the same weight?
I don't know. I would still like to see it. Like somewhere. Maybe I don't know if it would happen in this movie, but I would want to see that confrontation between the two characters for sure.
I want to see the confrontation, but I don't think I want to see her without her helmet. Vanity Fair has a photo. I don't know if we were allowed to show it or not. Where it's got her with
Kylo and Hux.
And
yeah, we can put that photo up.
Okay, and she's there with her helmet off, and it just doesn't look as threatening, doesn't look as menacing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still looks, here she comes with her big stick to beat the shit out of you.
And before we go on, I want to make sure that if you are listening right now and you have the ability to pull us up on our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, we have that photo there available for you to look at. If you're watching here on YouTube, you're seeing that on your screen right now. I think you're right. But in that moment, that's Gwendolyn Christie with that. She's not in character in that moment.
Right. I mean, she's very beautiful in this picture.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's just a killer actress. I mean, you ultimately want to see that helmet come off. I do.
I don't. Keep it on.
What if they just haven't decided what she's supposed to look like?
What if they just kill her off?
Or that.
What if she just doesn't... What if she's not even 8 at all? What if it's all a lie? What if it's like Rogue One where we get a bunch of footage and then none of it's in the movie? What if that happens, Jesse?
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, just what if they haven't decided what she looks like? And in order to kind of delay it until they can make an actual decision... keep the helmet on.
Hey, you know what? Either way, I just want to see her like blow some. I just want to see her with a blaster shooting at a bunch of people.
Something.
I feel like we're gonna get that.
I was left unsatisfied with her after Force Awakens, so let her do something badass.
I would say a confrontation between Phasma and Finn would be satisfying, but a more satisfying confrontation would be Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren. Now, although our next story is not about a confrontation between the two, it is about Luke Skywalker, and it's thanks to a Hungarian film magazine. I cannot pronounce the title. I will not pronounce it. But if you go to our social media, you can read the article yourself, and you can try and pronounce it yourself. But the important thing here is this. It's a new image of Luke. It's in those dark robes that we're seeing him in more and more as we get closer to this movie. It looks like... I mean, if this was like Lord of the Rings, I would say it's like dragon scales. But it looks like a dark leather, but it's several layers of this heavy... cloak. It's black, it's dark. You see the brown glove on his right hand.
Dragon scales. I think we need to get you in front of Lord of the Rings a little more.
Oh, is that not in Lord of the Rings? Yeah, see, that's why I stay in Star Wars world. I was trying to speak your language too.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, I tried.
We'll educate you later.
But the point of this is, guys, I mean, you look at this and Luke. First off, I like how this isn't just one of those things where it's Mark Hamill in the Luke garb staring at the camera. This is Luke Skywalker. This is not Mark Hamill. And he looks conflicted. He looks like a guy who has dabbled in the dark side. It looks like it might have backfired on him. It looks like he's out of nowhere dealing with this female, this Rey coming up with his lightsaber.
To me, it looks like indigestion.
You think?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Or do you think it's like in frustration because it's like you brought the lightsaber? Where's my hand?
There's a hand fine with this.
I've been on this island for 5 years by myself. I could have used my hand. What do you think, Jesse?
Honestly, what the outfit reminds me of, this is going to sound really just far-fetched.
Just go for it. I believe in you.
But it reminds me of like what you'd see like maybe a fisherman like wearing.
Okay.
It kind of has a leather look to it.
His Jedi poncho.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, just think about it. He's living on this like rock, or at least a very much ocean-like world.
Yeah, with the Porgs and the Guardians.
You know, so if it potentially rains a lot here, it would make sense to have something a little bit more.
It's true.
Could he have harvested Porg skins to make these cloaks?
He damn well better have not. They're incredible.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally do.
It's like it could just simply be practical.
I can see that.
Like,
he just needs like the little hat, and then he could be selling like fish sticks on a commercial.
I think the attire matches the terrain and the climate that he's dealing with. But I do think it does hint, though, at some previous struggle. And we've heard Mark Hamill speak before about how, you know, he had frustrations that he had created a backstory in his mind. He goes to Rian Johnson. He says that he doesn't feel like his backstory is as important, but he still needed to establish it for himself. You know, I look at this, and I feel Luke dabbled in the dark side of the Force, and it backfired. And now here's a guy who's getting redeemed by this girl showing up.
Think about it like this, though. This is a guy who had very improper training. I mean, he barely spent any time with.
Oh yeah, by far the most unconventional Jedi.
He kind of skipped out on his training with Yoda, and then he's basically told, "Yeah, you'll be a Jedi when you confront Vader and everything." And yeah, he does that. Okay, but after that, I mean, he's got to kind of go on kind of like a search here, because if he wants to progress his training, he's got to look. If you look at the lore, he's got to look for holocrons, which basically are like flash drives with information. Maybe try to commune through the Force with, you know, maybe Obi-Wan and Yoda somehow. He's probably had a very rough time and everything, so it's very much possible that he's been teetering back and forth over the last 30 years.
It seems, though, like the common thing so far is he tried to rebuild the Jedi Order, and it blew up in his face about 5 years prior to Force Awakens. That seems to be the big thing, and he might have had these side adventures. We will see. I don't think it's a doubt, though. He will ignite a lightsaber. I don't know if it's going to be the green one. I don't know if it's going to be the blue one.
I hope it's the blue one.
I want it the blue one, too. But there's a big push for the green.
I think there'll be a moment where he does, like he's examining his old lightsaber. He, you know, ignites it.
Maybe like it's when he first picks it up and he looks directly into it.
That's kind of what I'm picturing is going to happen. He's going to inspect it and then turn it on, shut it off, and then give it back. You know, that's just something that's just a gut feeling.
He might give it back to Rey, but let me tell you, he's going to whip out that green lightsaber soon, because I think there's going to be a battle between him and the Knights of Ren by the end of this movie.
I heard a very interesting theory about his green lightsaber, by the way.
Okay, well, we don't have spoiler, but here's a theory. Okay, go.
Very quickly, the theory is that it's constructed via parts of Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber, which Obi-Wan claimed and kept after the Phantom Menace and everything. So,
why would he have to build another lightsaber?
Well, this is the interesting thing, though, is maybe to make it his own. But you know, we recently saw that new middle-aged Obi-Wan Kenobi figure. You know, that takes place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. He's got lightsabers on his, and this is where this theory kind of came from, because he's got he's got Anakin's, and then there's that third one there.
But I don't get the point of Luke having to build another lightsaber. He still has his lightsaber, as far as we know, from Return of the Jedi.
Potentially, the thought is either he used parts from it, or this lightsaber was
not
destroyed or something like that.
Maybe
but
he wanted to
crystal,
dual wield.
the Kyber crystal, though, is where they're getting at the very least, is where he got the crystal to power his.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So you're saying the Kyber crystal from Qui-Gon's, it's what's powering Luke's.
Yes.
Okay, now it makes total sense.
So
I can buy that.
That kind of, when I read that, it kind of got me a little bit more on board with Luke keeping his green saber going. Like I could deal with that.
Yeah, I can roll with it. I'm still on the bandwagon though that I want Rey to take that staff and turn that into a double-sided blue lightsaber.
I'd love to see that too.
I would love to see a Jedi wield a double-sided lightsaber in a Star Wars movie. That's going to do it for Real Talk. Great discussion, guys. That was a lot of fun. God, I love talking about what we're going to see with Luke in The Last Jedi. It is, for as much as they kept him away in The Force Awakens, they are going to give us all the Luke we want, I believe, in The Last Jedi. Let's jump down to pages, pixels, and pieces. And the first topic of this segment, we will start by saying, I told you so. I told you, I fucking told you it was going to be the Millennium Falcon on this show.
He just used our one F.
I did. I used it.
I feel robbed.
I'm irritated. So if you don't know, I'm sure you do know because this has been all over the internet, is the fact that LEGO announces early that the largest LEGO set to date will be a Star Wars Millennium Falcon. It is part of the UCS line. It is 75192. It comes in over 7,500 LEGO pieces. And I even said on last week's episode, I said you can tell by the way they laid out the pieces, the gray and the tan, it looks like a frickin' Falcon. And now I did like, Nick had proposed last week that it was going to be the Dreadnought that we got the images of.
That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Or I was thinking because of the tan brick, what if it was a Star Destroyer, like half of a Star Destroyer crashed into the sand from Jakku?
Oh, that'd be neat.
That would be a nice shelf piece. I would buy it.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
You're not going to get it because you're getting the Millennium Falcon. You're getting a Millennium Falcon, a set that has been rehashed 4 or 5 times. 4 or 5 times on the episode last weekend. You can go back and look at it. I told you the 5 largest Star Wars LEGO sets to date. And guess what was the number 2? Or was it number 1? Was it
the largest?
Was it the Death Star?
I might be able to go back.
it was the Millennium Falcon, wasn't it?
I can go back.
All right, you're gonna pull it up. Well, I'm gonna go on my rant here. So this is what makes me mad because it has been rehashed so many times.
This is the 3rd Falcon, isn't it?
No, this is like the 4th or the 5th.
Are you
Because
sure?
you had the 1 in 99, then you had a UCS version, and then you had another medium-sized Millennium Falcon, and then you had the Force Awakens Falcon, and now you have this Falcon. And if you would have told me in 2015 that I was going to get a Force Awakens Millennium Falcon, and then 2 years later they're going to drop this monstrosity of a set, you're not getting my $150 for that Falcon, and I'm going to save it towards this. This is going to be an $800 set. This is 1,500 pieces larger than the Taj Mahal.
Now, did you watch the video where the developers?
Yeah, the LEGO group broke it down.
Yeah, broke it down and everything. It is a very respectable build and everything. I mean, I love the detail on it. For me, I loved how you could flip the satellites around, and it came with. If you want to display it as an Empire Strikes Back Falcon, you can.
Yeah, you can change out the dish, which would have been a nice feature on that set that I spent $150 on LEGO. Would have been a nice feature. That's right behind me. Guess what? That thing is going to crash into a junkyard after this episode. David, you pulled up the notes. What was the largest? What was the largest set?
Millennium Falcon, 5,195 pieces.
So literally LEGO just upped the largest Star Wars LEGO set from a Millennium Falcon to another larger Millennium Falcon.
I think you're a little upset about this.
I'm really annoyed because this is...
You know what?
If I wanted a Millennium Falcon, a LEGO Millennium Falcon, what they just gave us is exactly what I wanted. But I just gave them $150 2 years ago on the same damn ship.
Is it going to be larger than the one behind?
Significantly larger. Jesse, this ship is going to be like this big.
Okay. With that being said, what I want to see now is we've already seen Harrison Ford drop one fan's Lego Millennium Falcon. I want to see him drop this one.
7,500. That would have to take at least a day and a half to build.
10 figures.
It would probably take some people like 12 hours to build
I'm a
straight.
nerd. I'd sit there and probably separate everything.
I would
and
too.
Then, boom, power build it.
I bought some Legos today, and this box says 8 to 12 years to build it. So.
No, that's the age. That's the age that they recommend that you be to buy that set. And you're literally, if you flip 12, you're still older than that number.
Well, that's good to know.
So that set should take you like 12 minutes to build.
Or what their role is going to be?
No.
God, I thought I was going to crush that record.
God, I didn't want you to make me laugh this segment because I wanted to keep my angst because I was so mad. Okay, so I'm done ranting. Let's talk about the positives of this set. The positives do not include the $800 price tag. It does not. It is not. The positives does not include the fact that I already spent $150 on a set like this 2 years ago.
How much was the
The UCS,
Yeah, the last
like
one.
$300 or $400.
correctly sized and
Okay.
Is that the special one?
Yeah, the UCS. Yeah, it was $300 or $400.
cockpit.
I think we can click on that button.
And keep in mind that set was also roughly
Yes,
2,000
and it's
pieces
one of
less
the
than what we
most
just got.
More
I mean, don't get me wrong.
decorated
This set
elements
is
on the
killer.
model.
The box that
The
it comes in
cockpit
is
itself
massive.
Is made up of 2 decos.
This ship is.
And
If
along
you
with
can,
that,
if you
you
have
also have the
$800
radar
to
dish,
spend,
which
you
is
should
also
totally get it because
the
this
gunnery
is
window.
this is the Millennium Falcon that I would
Okay,
always
so
want
it
to
looks
build.
like the
Frontal
last one. The
Falcon,
price point
and the
on
final
it
deco
was
is a large hollow chessboard where
So
Spock
we're looking
and
at a jump of
R2-D2
$300
about
something dollars.
2,500
But that doesn't go on the outside
additional
of the Falcon, does it,
pieces
Hans?
to the existence to the 5,000 build.
Right.
So yeah, you're looking at another $300 on top of that. And
Plus tax.
Open it up
yeah,
by
I,
removing small
Now they do give you the Empire Strikes Back lineup of characters. You get Han, you get Leia, you get Chewie, you get C-3PO, you get R2-D2. You also get the Last Jedi lineup, which includes Chewie and 2 Porgs.
I want the porgs.
Do you want to pay $800 for the set?
No, but I want the porgs.
I am mad. But if you told me right now that the 4 of us would go quarter in, I would buy this set. I would buy the set for this set. I would do it. Now let's talk about the actual good features of this set, though.
We didn't pay $200 a piece for the mixer or the lap.
Nope, because I bought all that. But let's talk about the good things about this set. I do like how the back, and I think we can actually show the video of the feature. I like how parts of the back can come off and allow you to see scenes in the ship. But now here's my negative. Here's another negative of this set. They don't actually have the hallway built around the core of the ship. They're stickers.
Mechanical and technical specifications.
So as a LEGO fan, if you're a LEGO fan, you know how irritating that is, that they didn't actually build the hallway, the 7,500 plus pieces, and they don't build you the hallway. They put a sticker inside a little alcove piece, and that's your hallway around.
you know what's going to happen. And you give it a little while, what you're going to see is a modified version of this set where somebody actually does take the time to redo basically so where the most of the top comes off is
Right.
one piece.
Yeah.
And you're actually going to see those hallways. Because that's just how everything goes.
There's a lot of really good custom Falcons out there already that have that.
My latest temptation that I've been resisting is
build with you.
there's a Slave 1 Bandai kit. And when it's modified with a lighting kit, it looks phenomenal. And I feel like this is going to be the same thing here.
I'm surprised you don't have the UCS version of the Slave 1.
I can't justify the price point on it because I think part of it is growing up, I was into Legos. I had tons of them. The thing is that a set like what David bought here, when I was a kid, how much?
Hold that a
how
little
much
high.
did-
Hold that a little high.
How much did you pay for this?
Like $25.
Okay, when I was a kid, this was like maybe $15, $20 top.
Yeah.
You know, maybe even less than that.
Well, look at the
They're
battle
smaller,
packs.
Smaller sets.
Look at the battle packs. Battle packs when they first started coming out in like what was that like
That's like the
05,
fig
06?
mini, just minifig.
Yeah,
right?
4 minifigs in a cheap little vehicle.
Like
that was
$10,
$10, and now they're $14, $15.
When I was a kid, man, like we're talking like $5-10 for something like that, depending on what it was. And now you're just getting 4 just figurines.
I think we're complaining a lot because we know we can't afford the Lego set. I think ultimately that's what it comes down to.
Can I ask what does UCS stand for?
Ultimate Collector Series.
Oh, and so they releasing 2 versions of this Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, so like I get it because you have like this version behind me, the $150 price point. That's for your casual fan. That's for the kids to play with and
Casual?
yeah. I mean that's
I make a salary and I'm not going to drop $150 on a Lego kit.
well,
Yeah,
I make a salary and I
yeah.
did and I
That's
regret it
like-
now.
Whew.
But then you have like I think like the UCS X-wing that came out in like the early 2000s. That is a beautiful ship. And I would have loved to have it. The UCS TIE Fighter looks great. The Executor then they came out. I'm pretty sure they did a bomber within the last 7 years. A TIE bomber. The sets look phenomenal. But like we keep saying, we just can't justify that price. $800 for a Lego set?
No, the thing is I almost bet you could source all the parts you need to do this outside.
I just don't
and
want to take the time.
It would probably end up being cheaper, I imagine.
Man, I wanted to say this. I was really thinking about saving this for Stash It or Blast It. But it just made the most sense to fit here. I think it's really cool. And my 9-year-old self, my 12-year-old self, my 18-year-old self lunges at this set. But I'm bitter because I thought that the 2015 set was the last time I was going to have a chance at the Falcon. I guess that's my problem. I'm just bitter. I think it's a cool set. If you're going to get this set, let us know in the comments below. Maybe you already have it. Send us pictures of your update. We just love to know what you think about this Lego set, because this is, without a doubt, the coolest Lego set of our time. If you look at this set, the great thing about it is, and my complaint about all the other Falcons before it, it never quite figured out how to take the cockpit and that bend in to the rest of the ship to make it look symmetric, or not symmetric, but to make it look, like flush with the rest of the top of the ship. Because if you look at the 2015, here, I'll just pull it off. Here, you talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I love what they did with this. I mean, I watched the video and everything, and yeah, I mean, you could comparing, like, looking at the box image here and comparing it to what we have.
You want to talk? I'll talk now. Okay, so I just broke the gun. That's my bad. I broke the gun around the bottom. Now they can't shoot at TIE fighters. Okay, so this is like the 2015 set that I keep complaining about that I bought. And if you look at the cockpit, this is me getting super nerdy. If you look at the cockpit and then the hallway going into the main body, it's off-center. Like, it's just off-center. And you're thinking, well, what's the big deal, David? Well, it's not a big deal. It's a Lego set. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. There's like thousands of people displaced in Houston right now, and I'm bitching about a Lego set. Like, I get it, how stupid this is right now. But yeah, that's not good. And I still spent a lot of money on this set. You look at that $800 set, well, you know what? For $800, they better damn figure it out, and they did. It's perfect. And I can't have it. Are we done ranting about this? You guys have anything else?
Yes.
What? Go.
I think it looks pretty, and that's really my only comments on it. I'm not going to bitch about it. Just, I think it looks neat.
I mean, there's, I'm guessing it's probably definitely a larger, it's just nice display piece, and if you've got the money for it,
it's gonna be almost the size of the kitchen table that is part of our set right now.
I don't know if it would be that big.
No, it is. The measurements measure out to be the size of this table.
Really?
It's really neat.
It's this half of it. This half of it.
Okay.
If you're listening, this is doing nothing for you, and I'm sorry. But if you do go back and watch our last episode, or the single shot, where we actually broke down the top 5 largest Star Wars Lego sets, you'll actually get some visual comparisons to, those sets, and then you can compare it to this $800 set that just came out.
It wouldn't even fit on your shelf. You wouldn't even, like, if you bought this, this isn't going to fit on your shelf.
That's like $3,000.
You would have to buy a special table or some way to display it.
If we get the set, we clear all this crap off, and it's just the Falcon.
How dare you?
Not the helmet.
How dare you?
You get to wear the helmet next time. You should just wear the helmet during the episodes.
Calling that crap.
I wasn't calling that crap. I was talking about my figures. All right, let's go on the next topic, because we're just now we've gotten sidetracked. Mace Windu #1 dropped, and we're really excited about.
I missed that.
This #1 issue. You don't apologize. Never apologize for anything.
We didn't get it in.
I read it.
Yeah,
Mace Windu #1 dropped this week. It's that first issue of the 5-issue miniseries. And so, since these two guys haven't read it, I'll just kind of give you a brief synopsis, and then the things I liked and the things I didn't like. The thing that I did like is it's centered around Mace Windu. This is just after the Battle of Geonosis. Okay. Mace is really conflicted. He does not seem to like the notion that Jedi are going to adopt the title of General, get another hat on their head, and have to lead these clones. Keepers of the Peace. He's in one of the temple chambers with Ki-Adi-Mundi, and they're talking about his conflict with the war and how it's developing. And Mace goes before the Jedi Council, gets assigned to travel to this Outer Rim planet where there's separatists that are gathering. There's a heavy droid presence. Mace assembles a couple of Jedi. There's one Jedi that's kind of a reveal. I'll let you find that out for yourself. He or he may not be able to see. They go to this planet. They slaughter a bunch of droids. A very fun battle to end it. And that's as in-depth I want to get, because I want you to go out there and get this. Now, positive, the writing, fantastic. Really enjoyed the storytelling. I think a Mace Windu comic should be text-heavy. I think of okay, so like a Batman Beyond, to like DC this a little bit. Batman Beyond comics are less talk, more in the visuals. But a Batgirl comic like we got in New 52 and Rebirth is way more text. It's way more story focused than the art. Even though I would argue the Batgirl had some of the best art in those two eras of DC Comics. Come back to this Star Wars Marvel line. The story, the writing, fantastic. I'm not sold on the art. There's a couple panels where you get a look at Yoda, and it kind of looks half-assed. Maybe that's just intentional. But there's a couple times where I feel like the background art we just have to get this comic book in.
See, I'm a little intrigued with what you just said about, like, at the very beginning about how he's distraught after Geonosis. And it's kind of, I've always felt after, because, I watch Attack of the Clones probably 6 billion times.
Yeah.
The moment that he kills Jango Fett, there's a look on Mace's face. Okay? And for me, if you think about it, that is almost the very first human casualty of the Clone Wars. If you think about it, at least on film-wise. Obviously, there's a whole battle going on. There's been a few Jedi that are down, but for Mace, that's the first life he had to take in this war that just started.
Yeah.
So it's just.
My thing about Mace Windu is the fact that he's the one guy that's always had conflict. We know about Mace Windu being that Jedi.
He's a very dark individual.
Well, he is, and that's his fighting style is infused with the dark side. But he's also the one guy from the very beginning who's like, we shouldn't train Anakin Skywalker. This is a bad idea. He's too old. He's scared. He's cold. Should not train him.
Yeah, there's a lot of expanded universe.
And then you get to this comic, this first issue, and here's a guy who questions the situation and is really reflecting on it, and it's not a devil's advocate type of thing. He's just like, I'm not sure this is the right thing, but we're keepers of the peace. We don't know what's right.
I think partially because there's lines in the movies where Yoda's like, the dark side is clouding everything, and then you get a line from Mace where he's like, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. He ends up being right. At this point in time, it
becomes a little ironic too.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where his style, the fact that I think he is a little bit more in touch with the dark side, I think he was able to get glimpses of, he knew that something didn't feel right.
I'm totally with you on it. I'm telling you right now, I think you definitely pick up this second issue, David.
You know that I love this Darth Vader run that's out right now.
Right.
So, as somebody who thoroughly enjoys that, is this something that I should pick up and start reading?
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to be different. See, and here's the thing, though. I think Charles Soule does a great job writing for the Darth Vader, but I think the art with Giuseppe really complements it well. Mm-hmm. I would say with Mace Windu, you're going to go into it for the story, which might sound ridiculous because, of course, you're going into a comic for the story. Why would you want to read something unless you wanted a good story? But the story drives it. It's not so much the visuals, which is something that turned you on to comics 5 years ago when you got into comics, right? It was the visual component to it once you got comfortable reading in the comics, that comic format. I would tell you to pick it up. If you don't have that first issue yet, you haven't been able to get your hands on it, awesome. Go out there and get it. And I'm telling you that, too. If you listen to this show, you might have heard us mention him before, but Alex, the comic book hoarder, a good friend of ours on YouTube, he's actually a guy who lives kind of in the Midwest with us. And he picked up Mace Windu, and he gives it a big thumbs up. He's more of a Marvel DC kind of guy, but our interactions, it seems like he's trying to get more and more into the Star Wars comics. Really like Mace Windu 1, and he's also sold with the Darth Vader series that we're following, which number 5 comes out next week. I'm really excited to pick that cover up. Nick has already said that he's going to get that cover blown up for me. The one with the close-up on Vader's eye, and it's shattered. The glass shards are flying out towards you. We're going to get that thing blown up. I think we're going to put that on set. It's just beautiful. It is just beautiful. Let's go on to the third topic, because we're having a lot of fun time in Pages, Pixels, and Pieces, but we have to move on. But first, Force Friday 2. Force Friday is when we're recording this episode. So we went out and we got a couple of new toys, a couple of fun things. But part of Force Friday is the line of books that dropped in accordance with the day to celebrate. So we got Delilah Dawson's Phasma that dropped, Claudia Gray's Leia, The Power of the Force by Michael Siglin, and then Star Wars Annual 2018, which is like an activities book. It's like coloring and mazes and all kind of crap, okay?
But not Chewie and the Porgs.
Not Chewie and the Porgs. I feel bad because you wanted Porgs mentioned like in a story, and I don't have anything with Porgs. So if you want Porg talk,
their meat is
you have
tasty.
You have to fit them in. They're going to be like on skewers, I'm telling you.
You weren't here last week. Nick and I found pictures online of Porg potatoes. And
okay, now in all seriousness, I told you about the Porg potatoes, and then you guys spent 15 minutes trying to come up with any. But where are your ingredients? You said you were going to make them this week.
Au gratin pork.
I'll show you a picture because they're cute.
Okay, so while David pulls them up, I'll go ahead and tell you my lineup. I think the one that sticks out to me the most is actually going to be Claudia Gray's Leia, because I have not read anything from Claudia Gray in the Star Wars world that I have not yet enjoyed. Loved Bloodlines. Lost Stars was my very first canon book read. I read Lost Stars before I went back and started toiling around with Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Jedi trilogy. Like I said, my first introduction to that canon. And she does a great job of world building and playing along in the Star Wars galaxy. And what I really enjoy about her books especially is you're kind of like you're watching a movie and you're able to go through the main events of the saga, but then you're on this unique journey of its own. And I think that's what we're going to get with Leia. We've got Claudia Gray giving us this Lost Stars journey. She gives us Bloodlines, which is a General Leia dealing with politics in that post-Return of the Jedi galaxy. And now we're going back to the princess on Alderaan and learning about her formative years. Really excited about that. I'm thinking, though, Jesse, you're probably more excited about the Phasma novel just because this is going to flesh out the origin of the character and we find out that she has a rival.
I think you nail it with Leia and everything. I definitely am on board with those books, and I'm definitely going to pick them up and read them. You're definitely right. I want to know a little bit more about Phasma.
Yeah.
Just the origin there, anything that builds up to where we're at in the movies now, I'm totally sold with it.
And we kind of know already through the synopsis release that her rival is, at least in the First Order or the remnants of the Empire to become First Order, is Cardinal, the Red Stormtrooper. So I'm excited to find out about how Cardinal becomes a Red Stormtrooper. Like, how does that work out? You have to be pretty special to get your Chrome Naboo. Phasma's armor is Naboo fighter infused. So it's like, well, what did you have to do to become a Red Stormtrooper? What's so great about you? How do you get the name Cardinal? So that'll be interesting. I need a strong origin for her, so that way maybe my relationship with her in Force Awakens is enhanced.
I feel confident simply because the books that we've been getting over the past couple years, the Aftermath books, Thrawn. We've had some really strong writers introduce some amazing books. I'm still in the process of reading the new Battlefront book, which has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's another great one to pick up.
How much do you have left in the book?
I want to say I'm probably maybe halfway, a little bit past halfway.
Okay, that's about where I'm at. Well, I think what we should do is we should wrap that up quick, and then we should do a special book review for it.
So I just kind of, with being down and sick and everything, I've really, other than stagger through
I feel like
work,
that's the best time to read.
I was that or sleep.
Oh my!
So it was just work and then sleep. So
well, it got you back to this point. And we're glad to have you back.
I have a lot of catching up to do on all sorts.
David, what are any of these books really intriguing you, or do you think you're just more so just focused on the comic book stuff?
So here's where I am on this, David.
Boy,
I'm skeptical to begin with of any sort of books in any of the fandoms that I'm a part of. Because I've gotten into Doctor Who books, I've gotten into World of Warcraft books, and they've just left me unsatisfied.
Okay.
But you rave about these books all the time, and so I'm actually going to break down and. As an update to you, I'm now in the middle of season 6 of Clone Wars, and I miss Ahsoka, and so
you have my book.
You let me borrow.
Did you just look at the bookshelf asking if you could borrow the book? What did you do with my book? Did you lose my book?
Sitting in my laptop case over there.
Okay, don't damage it.
I'm not gonna damage it.
I love that book.
You wouldn't even let me take the dust cover home.
Hell no, I would not.
So,
oh god, it's such a good book.
So
that's got a really sexy cover. I haven't seen this cover.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to jump any into these books that are coming out with Force Friday, but I am going to start there.
No complaints at all. That is a great book to start.
That can sell me on Star Wars books that I'll hop into.
I'm so happy.
If you're having trouble reading this, there is a fantastic audible book.
Oh my gosh, with
Ashley
Eckstein
doing the voices,
the whole book.
Oh.
And it's
they put me to sleep. They do. I have to. I mean, I should be
just
okay.
Don't drive while listening to it.
I learned how to read a long time ago, so I should be fine. But audiobooks just put me to sleep.
I hope if you're listening to the podcast, whether that's on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, or you're watching us on YouTube, I'm really hoping that you can appreciate going through our Star Wars journey. Like, I feel like we're going through our Star Wars journey together, you and I, and it's really cool to see David especially now, because it's like, this guy has torn through Clone Wars, and you're about to experience the best 4 episodes
Dave,
the series has given us.
We have different grades of fandom at the table.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like, we're relatively all roughly about the same age and everything, but, like, it's just like you've got the super hardcore nerdy guy, you got the still hardcore nerdy guy, and you still have a hardcore nerdy guy.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a lot of hardcore sitting at this table.
Yeah, you know, but it's just there's different levels of it. Like, you know, some of it you dive in more into the comics. You know, but I'm so proud of him. He's season 6 of Clone Wars.
Our little guy is growing up, and we're really proud. And we're so proud we're gonna.
If you're listening or if you're watching,
yeah.
if you want to start reading this book with me, feel free to comment down below.
Yeah.
And then David will tell me what you say.
Or you could just check the comments for yourself, you jerk off.
I could, or you could just tell me what they say, and I could.
God.
It's really making me question if
you know what? If you do, read along with him, or if you've already read the book, tell us in the comments below why you like it so much. And once he's done with reading the Ahsoka novel, how about you give him the next 3 books that he should read? Probably got him behind me. I'm like your library, your Star Wars library.
I'm gonna tell him the Aftermath books.
Oh well, you have to. You know what? I bet I would put money on that. If we kiss Chuck Weddick's ass enough, I think Chuck would go on air, would like do an interview with us, because I hit him up like weekly just to tell him how much I love the Aftermath trilogy.
Who?
Chuck Wendig does the Aftermath trilogy.
Okay.
We have a really nice Taco Bell, Chuck.
Whoa, this Taco Bell feast is expanding. Mark Hamill still has not responded back, but we've actually never made the ask. We've never made the ask. I don't want to make him the ask, because if you actually go to Mark Hamill and you're like, hey man, let's get Taco Bell, probably automatically thinks we're a bunch of douchebags.
Does he do that Twitter thing that you do?
Yeah, he does that Twitter.
Can you like make, what do you do? Do you like poke it or?
No, that's on Facebook, honey.
Maybe like I could resin cast my hand or something and paint it up to where it's
I don't even want to. I don't want you to finish that
sentence. Put it in a glass case and be like, we found this at the bottom of Cloud City. If you come here and hang out with us for a day, we'll give your hand back.
Stash It or Blast It is the next segment in episode 15. And God, get me out of this. This is actually, again, big thanks to the guys over at StarWarsNet.com. The last couple of days, they've been talking about the new Topps trading cards that are coming out for The Last Jedi. And I think there's like, 18 cards that have dropped. But the one that is really capturing my attention, a lot of people's attention, is this image of Luke Skywalker and Ahch-To, and there's the water. And if you look down in the water, there is an X-Wing fighter submerged underneath the surface of the water. And David and Jesse are looking at this photo very intently right now, which is fine, because this image is blowing me away. Guys, David, let's start with you. You see there's an X-Wing submerged in this picture. Do you think that's just art to really, get people excited to buy these top trading cards? Or do you think that Luke's X-Wing fighter is submerged underneath the water surface at Ahch-To?
I think it's submerged. We know that we've gotten some inklings that this movie is going to have some very similar themes to Return of the Jedi. Just like...
You mean Empire Strikes Back?
Empire Strikes Back. Just like Force Awakens had a lot of similarities to A New Hope.
Right.
So, I mean, Luke crashes in Dagobah, and there goes down his X-Wing fighter.
Okay.
So maybe as part of Rey's training, he's like, the tide came up. Why don't you go lift that X-Wing up?
Gonna need you to mow my yard while you're at it, too.
Jesse, does this excite you? Because, to me, this is one of those beats that I would not mind seeing. Like, Luke failed at the X-Wing. Can Rey not fail at this exercise?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is part of an exercise. I think this is a man who doesn't want to be found. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. Is why you wouldn't want to park your car somewhere where somebody can see it. It's the same. I think under the water, it's less likely to be seen at least.
And if it's been under there for too long, like that ship can't fly, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, think about it. It's
Star Wars technology.
Think about the X-Wing in itself. It's a spaceship. The flight suit, we don't have a respirator or anything like the TIE fighter pilots do. So that is a vacuum-sealed cockpit. Okay, so with that being said, the cockpit isn't flooded. you know. And
Well, I was just thinking of, like the engines and stuff. I mean, I'm thinking of like reality. Like if you took a U.S.
maybe
military
eventually.
fighter to underwater, it would deteriorate over time.
You know, but I mean, this is Star Wars, so I mean, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe it's a freshwater planet.
Yeah, it's not saltwater that will corrode.
I'm really just thinking that it's not crashed.
Okay.
It's there on purpose.
Okay.
Perhaps there's a landing pad.
Okay.
You know, maybe it lowers it. You know, I mean.
At Och 2? There's no way in hell there's technology there, bro.
There could be.
Have you seen the Guardians? They don't have thumbs. They couldn't build anything. The Porgs?
No, but I mean,
they're like pigeons.
He went to this planet for a reason, though. You know, I mean, we know that.
Because they had a conveniently placed landing pad?
Okay, but look at
That's
Star Wars
submerged.
Rebels, though. The hidden Jedi temples and everything. You know, just because they didn't build it doesn't mean that some Jedi didn't build these places, these retreats or some kind.
Okay, that I can buy. I'm just... just the idea of Ahch-2 just being this desolate place, but conveniently has a landing pad. I think I'm going to set up shop here for the next 5 years.
So, I think this is a man not wanting to be found. So
Okay.
I think, you know, when you see him at the end of Force Awakens, there's a lot of emotion there, but I think he's upset about the fact that somebody is here.
Well, we're going to find out together. I like that. I just like how confident you are in the fact that this is a man who doesn't want to be found. I think that's what we're going to get at the very beginning, but I think there's going to be a pivotal part in this movie where he does make that switch, and Luke Skywalker is back.
Can we talk about the card that I don't like?
Yeah, sure. Which card do you not like?
If we can flash this one on the screen,
Okay.
there's the card where it's got Snoke and 2 Praetorian Guard, and then it's got Kylo Ren, and he's like kneeling forward.
Oh yeah,
and
we can. Yeah, we also have this on our Instagram and Twitter accounts if you want to look at these photos later.
And he's holding his lightsaber like down, like he's kneeling on it as if it were like a legit sword.
Right.
And it's a neat looking picture, but that's like, it's not really. I don't like it because the lightsaber would go through the floor, or he's just like holding it there just to pose a picture. There's something about this picture that really bothers me.
Probably because that saber should go through the floor, right?
Probably.
There's only a few elements that I know of in the expanded universe that's lightsaber resistant.
Other lightsabers.
But is this like one of those like details? It's like maybe we're being a little too like.
Beskar,
Probably,
Mandalorian iron is in the expanded universe lightsaber resistant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with David on this. I'm
Yeah.
kind of yes, it's a cool like picture, but the practicality of it is like okay. I kind of feel like you're gonna. Wouldn't you just topple over, especially if you're leaning on it like old school like Crusader Knight? Wouldn't you just kind of like?
Wasn't it a Robot Chicken that did that thing where he dropped the lightsaber and it kept like dropping through floors?
Maybe I don't know, but that's just kind of like when I saw that image, it was just like, it's cool, but I'm sitting being the Star Wars nerd. I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's not how that works.
I'll tell you, like the more I see the First Order ships and stuff, I get really excited. But as that excitement grows, the more I see like Kylo Ren, Snoke, and the Praetorian Guards, the more I lose interest in them. I just hate the Praetorian Guard look. It's garbage. It looks like chess pieces.
Yeah.
I kind of agree, although looking at one of these cards, you can see Snoke with 5 Praetorian Guards, and they're kind of standing around him, which makes me wonder if maybe these Red Guard have turned less from like a security force and more into like a special forces type unit.
Okay, let's take that one step further. Are they somehow connected to the Knights of Ren?
This is kind of interesting.
Okay.
But looking at the various images, you know, you can kind of look at them, and the helmets are all kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
That flashback scene of Kylo and the, you know, that
Knights of
Rey
Ren.
has.
Yeah.
I don't know if those are other Knights of Ren. I think they're potentially Praetorian Guards with him.
Really?
It's raining. It's dark. What happened? Like when you get clothing wet, sometimes you know it becomes darker and
Yeah.
gets
Soggy too.
you know. So I'm kind of wondering potentially.
Yeah.
Were these
I
Praetorian
think
Guards behind?
I think there's a link. I don't really have any solid proof to back that up, but that's what my
and
inclination
traditionally
is.
the royal guards were slightly force sensitive or trained in this manner. I mean, you can tell by the weapons that they have here that you know that these are. These
warrior
aren't blasters. That,
Right.
You know, they're going to get up close in your face, and yeah.
Before we jump into the next segment, let's talk briefly about Force Friday. As far as a stash or blasted, hey, you know what? Stash or blasted. Do you stash or blast these card designs? Mainly the two that we've talked.
Stash
or blast it?
I would stash the first one we talked about, and I would blast the one that David pointed out. Simply just the technicality of
it looks neat. So
do you stash or blast?
I'll stash them.
Stash them both?
Of course, my favorite one is the one with R2 and a bunch of porgs, but...
Jesus.
Wait, can I get a porg plushie?
I just think you have a problem.
Maybe, but I'm really excited.
No plush. All I'm saying is you can't get a big plushie. Like the body size one, that'd just be weird.
I just want a small one.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I'm going to stash them both. I like the cards. I never got in the trading card game. The one with the down X-Wing fighter's got to be my favorite, though.
Yeah.
Let's do talk about Force Fighter real quick. Jesse, were you able to go out there and pick up anything?
No, I mean, I worked today. I got off work at 8, so I kind of wanted to go home and just kind of de-stress. And
is there anything out there that you want to track down?
Some of the Lego sets looked really really cool. Some of the the smaller ones. For me though, it's just kind of like I'm kind of waiting for something like newer stuff. I noticed that they released you picked up a couple figurines and everything. I'm still kind of waiting for a Boba Fett figure. I know.
One day it's coming. One day it's coming for you,
One
man.
day it's coming. I know. But they're such nice figures and everything. But I kind of want, when I get one of these, that's what I want. I want Boba Fett to be that first figure. I don't know. There's other figures out there you can get that are really nice, but it's just.
Yeah, well, let us know if you want to track something down. Let me know because I'm going to go on a couple of hunts in the next couple of weeks. I know, David, you and I were going to get Legos, and I ended up backing out of Legos. But you got that cute little Starfighter, right?
I did. It's Yoda's Starfighter.
It's what's the number on it? 75168. Yoda's Jedi Starfighter.
But this is not a new one. This has been out before.
Yeah, this is an older one, but
I liked it.
Well, yeah, this came out in the Rogue One wave. You can tell by the logo in the top right corner of the box, or top left logo of the box, corner of the box. But this is from the Clone Wars series. And you're about to watch the episodes where this is utilized.
Excellent. Spoilers. Damn it to hell.
For my haul was very small. We live in the Midwest. We live in a small Midwest town, and the Walmart got pillaged before we could get to it. But I did get 2 of the 3 figures that I wanted to get. And just in case you know, I love the Black Series line of the figures. You might be able to tell from the 12 figures that we have on the set. But number 43, Darth Vader dropped. And what I like about this Darth Vader, it is, and I'll let you look at it, Jesse, if you want. While you're looking at that, I'll get my other one here.
Oh, that's nice.
But that Darth Vader is the New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi look of the Vader. It doesn't have that slant that you get with the Star Wars Rebels look. I guess I could say it's the Rogue One Vader as well. But it's just that traditional style. I would not mind getting a figure, and I know they're out there, but getting a Star Wars Rebels Vader.
The helmet's crooked.
In the box?
Yeah.
Or is it made crooked?
I think it's made crooked.
Well, now the original helmet was not symmetrical.
Yeah, I know. So I'm
fine with that.
I'm wondering if that's.
Well, we're gonna say it was done intentionally.
But this is definitely a very nice figure.
Now the other one that I picked up is Hera Syndulla, and I've really grown to like Hera through the Rebel series, especially when we get that nice Easter egg in Rogue One. I don't understand her head. She has a short neck in this figure. You probably can't see that. I'll probably throw a photo up on the YouTube version of this so you can get a better look at the figure. But I'm a real big fan of it. I love her colors. I love how the jumpsuit of hers really pops with her green skin. And she is a character favorite of mine. Now, earlier I mentioned that I only got 2 of the 3 that I was looking for. Grand Admiral Thrawn dropped.
Oh.
You have... And you know what? I lied. There's 3 more that I need. I need Grand Admiral Thrawn. Luke in his robes that we see him in The Last Jedi, or The Force Awakens, and then Rey in her dark Jedi robes. I want to see that so badly. So I went on and on. Those were my 2 figures. Going to look for the other figures when I'm in St. Louis this coming weekend. And what is on your screen? Are those porgs?
His addiction.
I found body-size porgs on the Google machine.
If I open up the Quincy Police blotter next week and find this man sodomized a porg plushie, I'm going to be really PO'd because it's going to be you. and that's disgusting.
Why would the Porg sodomize me?
That's not... Oh, my God. Okay. Before we go into the next segment, which is Cosplay Cantina, we do want to remind you that when you're done watching this episode and you're thinking, man, you know what? These guys try really hard. I wish I could watch more of their videos. You can. You should check out the video where we teach you how to make a lightsaber hilt for less than $25. We're going to tell you where you can go to get the pieces, what pieces you need, and what tools you'll need to assemble. Jesse, Buck, and I had that conversation. The three of us actually go to Home Depot together and get those parts. And part 2 on the way still. We got to assemble the hilt.
I feel bad about this.
I don't feel bad.
because
We have all the time in the world.
You should feel bad because I just have a bunch of like plumbing parts sitting. On
I would say the comment on this, the thing that's kind of paid off, one of the things that I did manage to do in the last 2 weeks concerning these hilts. I've never done like a leather wrap or a leather grip on any of my prop pieces. And I was able to do one and actually get it right on the first go.
Sweet.
And it turned out fantastic. So it's one of those things, just as a prop builder and everything, I'm excited. And I still have plenty of leftover leather for this. So I think when we do make this part 2, I'm gonna show you guys how to do.
Be sure you send me some photos of that hilt so I can post it on our social. Okay, do that. Be sure you look out on our social for that, and be sure you just find us on YouTube if you want to find this video. Just go to YouTube, type in Beyond the Blast Doors, go to our channel page, and it's the Cosplay Cantina playlist. And with that said, we're gonna jump into Cosplay Cantina. I'm getting tongue tied. I got a dry throat right now. We are about to announce our next recipient, our September recipient of Beyond the Blast Doors Cosplayer of the Month. That announcement will drop over the weekend on Saturday. It will have dropped on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Again, thank you so much to Becca, who is our Becca Soka on social media, for being our first ever Cosplayer of the Month. We are going to have her on the show in the next 2 weeks. Just some scheduling conflicts. She travels all across the country doing shows as her Leia cosplay. And then, of course, I have work. David has work. Jesse has work. Nick has work. Nick goes out of the country. David goes out of the country. Jesse gets the plague for 3 weeks. So, when this is just the side thing, this is the hobby, this is a passion project for us.
Getting the plague is a hobby?
Getting things... No, not the plague, the show. Getting these schedules to mesh is sometimes a challenge, but we're going to make it happen. Really excited to have her on, and really excited to announce our next recipient in the next couple of hours. So with that said, let's actually just jump into another segment that we love, which is the Fan Comlink. Time to tap the Fan Comlink, and our buddy Emperor Palpatine at Sheev Palpatine hits us up again, and we just want to say thanks, man, because every week you ask a really good question.
I like this question.
And I want you to know that if you're not Sheev Palpatine and you're watching or you're listening, you can always send us questions on Twitter. Tweet at us at BTBD_podcast. Use the hashtag Beyond the Blast Doors. We see your question, we'll read your question, we'll answer it on the show. That's how it works. Our favorite memories so far of doing this show is this segment where we had 5 or 6 questions that we can spend literally a half hour just answering questions, because that's sometimes the best conversation, and that's what we have right here. Do you think Captain Rex will end up seeing Commander Cody, but in the Empire, in the Star Wars Rebels? David, I'm going to let you go first.
I'm really proud of this one because I know who both of those people are.
Okay, great. Great.
So, do I think they will end up seeing each other, but as part of the Empire? I have no flipping clue because I haven't started Rebels yet, but I just wanted to say I know who those 2 characters are, and I'm really proud of that. I couldn't have said that a month ago.
I'm really proud of you.
Yep.
This is a beautiful moment.
That's
Jesse?
all I can contribute to this conversation.
Jesse, what can you contribute to this
I'm
conversation?
debating if I need to stick my fingers in David's ears right now, because
I can do it myself.
Well, you know what we can do? Just out of respect to everyone, we'll put the spoiler graphic up. If you're listening now, there's a spoiler. It's probably going to be a 5-minute conversation. Just be patient with us.
I think this would be a very interesting interaction, because if Commander Cody survives the remainder of the Clone Wars and everything, the thing is at the time of Order 66, Captain Rex and Ahsoka were assigned to Mandalore and everything, and there Ahsoka and Rex faked their deaths. Okay, so I think there would be that shock,
I'm shocked
potentially,
Yeah.
from Cody, and considering that Cody followed through with Order 66, Rex did not.
Right.
So they're no longer yes, they're clone brothers, but they're no longer on the same side anymore. Cody obeyed an order. Rex disobeyed it.
What a great... That's like a great story arc, man. That's so cool.
I think it would be... I think I would be a lot of tension there because do they kill each other? You know, or would they even recognize each other at this point? Again, this is assuming that Commander Cody survived the rest of the fighting that took place after Order 66.
I think it would be a cool confrontation. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening because that to me would be a real stretch for me. I think Cody has bit the dust in the Star Wars world. He just kind of fades out. I like how they brought back Yularen, right? Because you had to bring back Yularen in Rebels because we now know that he's the white-haired guy sitting at the table in A New Hope. There's a few others that they've been able to kind of caress into that Imperial era, but I don't think that we're going to see a moment where you have Cody matching back up, unless it's where they face off and one kills the other.
I don't think we're going to see it in Rebels though, because I've done a lot of digging on where this next season's going. I don't think there'd be time to explore that kind of arc.
Yeah.
Now, if Dave continues on with some of these characters in a newer project,
maybe we'll find out the Forces of Destiny, Jesse.
Possibly. That's where I'm at with it. I'm not opposed to it.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah.
That would be atrocious.
And Forces of Destiny?
I would be so mad if they tried to shoehorn that relationship
there was one of those
in a
little
Forces
episodes I
of
watched.
Destiny. Come on, Jesse. That's a cop-out.
So,
Well, I think you baited me, sir.
I kind of did. David, what do you think?
I got a question for you
Yeah.
guys, though. For the Rebels, because I'll be honest, the first 2 or 3 seasons of Clone Wars did not really strike my fancy.
Okay.
But the last 3 that I've watched, 4, 5, and what I've seen of 6, holy cow, are the storylines just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Does Filoni take that style of writing and that the way he formats those stories into Rebels?
Yeah, I mean,
Progression is kind of the same.
Okay.
When I first started watching Rebels, I wasn't sold right away because I kind of felt there was like a childish feel at the kind of very early on in season 1.
well, yeah, because that's a Disney XD show compared to a Cartoon Network debut.
But it's like a snowball effect. It gets darker. And the story just gets more rich.
Because some of the more dark stories of the Clone Wars, like when Darth Maul comes back and when Satine, when Mandalore gets taken over, those to me were just phenomenal. So they were actually also pretty complex storylines too.
Yeah.
So if that writing kind of continues into Rebels, then granted I don't know anything about the show, then maybe that kind of a complex storyline might be able to fit its way into one of the future seasons.
What Clone Wars does is it sets the foundation for Rebels to happen. The storytelling is, it's the same storytelling with Filoni at the helm. I think the progression of the series is more rapid because of what they learned on Clone Wars. I think a lot of trial and error happened on Clone Wars, and I think that the Rebels will be a 4-season series is way more fleshed out.
Oh, so they're not going to do a 5th?
No, it's only 4. It's not after the season.
David, can I tell Dave what you told me before the cast
Maybe.
What?
about Mandalorians?
What do you say?
I don't remember what I said. That
What
was
did
like
he say?
minutes
He is
ago.
a bigger fan now of Mandalorians as a result of watching the Clone Wars.
Oh, without a doubt.
Well, yeah. Where else would you
Phenomenal.
get
So,
education on the Mandalorians?
With that being said, you're going to get more of that out
Oh,
of Rebels.
yeah.
And Rebels.
So, if anything, that's more fuel for you to when you get done with this, go straight into Rebels.
Yeah, you get through the first 6 episodes, I'd say, of Rebels. The rest of it is going to be smooth sailing for you.
How far did you and I get last night, David? We got through the
You have like episode.
tumor story arc. We started the...
Yeah, so now you have to get through the Mace Windu Jar Jar 2-episode arc, and then you jump into the really good stuff.
Which is the Yoda stuff.
Yeah.
Which you had tried to show me a couple years ago and I fell asleep.
Well, yeah, that happened.
Well, that's probably for the better, because now I'll actually, appreciate it.
Yeah, no. See, look at this. You're growing.
They grow so
This is
fast.
beautiful. I want to say one more time thanks to Sheev Palpatine for sending us that question, and thank you for listening to that wonderful tangent
Keep
we
your
just went
questions
on.
coming.
Please do. Let's go on to the last segment, staying on target. This episode kind of got away from us. Not that it is a bad thing. We're having a lot of fun, but my gosh, we've passed an hour and 10 minutes on this episode. So
Already?
yeah, we're having a good time, aren't we? It's
Having
gonna
a
be a
good
quicker
time.
one.
Yeah.
Having a good time.
oh my gosh, you know what? That Freddie Mercury reference is much appreciated. Let me tell
We
you.
tried singing that at karaoke a couple weeks ago, and it did not turn out well.
Yeah, I can't. I
whatsoever.
can't sing well.
sorry.
You sound like a coyote in a trash compactor, and I sound like a walrus giving birth to farm equipment. It did. Mm-mm.
It's an interesting comparison.
I know, right?
I didn't think it was that bad, but nonetheless,
You
hey
were awful.
Jesse, give me one thing that you have your targeting systems locked on for the next, the near future. For the near future.
Goal. I have my first 3-day weekend, probably like in 4 months this weekend.
Okay.
So, goal for me this weekend is I'm creating, working on a future cosplay, which is a Jedi themed, and I'm making my second personal lightsaber hilt.
Cool.
Run into a small hiccup, nothing I can't figure out. So at the end of it, I'm hoping to have that done by Monday.
Cool. David, what's one thing that you got your targeting systems locked on?
Oh, it's either the 7 or 8 episodes left that I have of Clone Wars
You have
or
like 4.
starting this Ahsoka book.
You have 4. I would say the Ahsoka book. You're gonna freaking love it.
Okay.
You're gonna. Well, you know what? Those last 4 episodes of Clone Wars are pretty great. Those are 2 good things to have your targeting systems
I'm
locked
gonna
on.
have to say Clone Wars episodes first, then the book, because then you're
Yes.
gonna appreciate the book more.
Yep.
I think I brought this up. Well, no, I haven't brought this up. This is why it's my thing on target. Duh. I don't even know why I just did that in the microphone. It's been a weird day. We got confirmation that George Lucas. Okay, so last week we talked about how George Lucas still kind of occasionally whispers things into Kathleen Kennedy's ear about like Jedi training, but we find out that the Darksaber and that whole Vizsla story background and a lot of that Mandalorian stuff is directly from the pen of of George Lucas. Like he's the one that created the concept and the script, which isn't surprising, right? Because that's stuff that we got kind of in Clone Wars and we're getting in Rebels and yada yada yada. But like to know like that is George's concept.
I can't tell you the exact title for it, Dave. I'll look it up and I'll send it to you. But there is a YouTube video with Dave and George Lucas sitting down and talking about Mandalorians.
Oh really?
And everything.
Yeah. Why didn't you send that to me before now?
Yeah.
We've been friends for like 5 months.
So, point is that you totally need to watch it because it is a very interesting. It's like a 15-minute video.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you
Well,
love
now
it.
my targeting system is just being a better friend with Jesse. Also, something to keep in your mind as we move forward, right? Because you make time to listen to our podcast or watch our podcast. James Arnold Taylor is about to drop another Clone Conversations episode, and these things are so fantastic. I've watched all of them multiple times. Matt Latner is going to be the next one up, and he's the voice of Anakin Skywalker. I believe it's a 2-parter. I could be wrong, but I think it's a 2-parter. He just JAT just did a 2-parter with Sam Witwer, and that was
Sam
2
is
episodes ago.
amazing.
Just
Amazing person.
incredible. Just incredible stuff. So go out there and check him out. And if you don't mind, could you tweet at James Arnold Taylor? And if you're visiting his channel for the first time or you're checking out that Clone Wars conversation for the first time, let him know that you heard about it through us. That would mean a lot. I'm a big fan of his work, not just with Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he also does Plo Koon, several voices on the show. Johnny Quest, he plays Fred Flintstone in some series. I mean, the guy's super talented. So let him know that you heard about him through us. And just wow, what a great episode! This was a lot of fun. Jesse, so great to have you back.
I'm glad to be back.
Love having you back, David. I'm glad you're feeling better. I know you've been battling sickness in your own way recently, and
It's okay. Cough drops make everything better.
and
How many of those have you consumed in the last hour?
Probably more than I'm supposed to.
we just gotta get Nick back. It's been like a month and a half since we've had the full crew here.
I feel like we need to do like a Leia-esque help me, Nick Stewart, you're our only hope kind of thing.
He will not hear that. He is in, I think he's in like Alabama or Georgia.
Alabama?
Yeah, he's somewhere far away. But hey, episode 15, it was quite the blast. And we went on tangents. We probably did the Kessel Run by the end of this whole episode. We were all over the
We
place.
went beyond the blast.
And we had a great, we went beyond the blast doors. Wait, what did you just say? We had a beyond the blast doors of a time?
No, we just went beyond the blast.
Oh my god, we did go beyond the blast doors. Holy crap. 15 episodes and we finally were able to shoehorn that reference in there.
I know.
Wow, that's awesome.